Philippines, they were just a country that's just rising up into the ranks of PUBG Mobile, right? With more teams coming up, it's just interesting to see how the game is just slowly growing there, with more pros just really rising as well. And to see the scene really thrive really makes it much more exciting. Like we know that Malaysia and Indonesia, Thailand have their own scene. It's huge, and I think that we might be seeing our next big one here in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and because the stakes are higher this time, right? Like we're talking about the slot to Esports World Cup. It's going to be hard to tell who will get that slot. That one slot from the Pmcl will be super duper precious, because if you don't get that, well, then it's a break until like the second half of the year. So it's going to be quite a break. And I'm pretty sure the teams wouldn't want to have that sort of a long break, and they will go all in for it. But who will gain that one slot? Well, that's where the journey begins here today in our first day of the Pmcl. And I personally would like to see surprises. I'd like to see like teams that maybe people don't expect to come up with a good performance, and who knows, they'll be able to snatch away that slot. Maybe somebody, or maybe the team from Laos, like Paradise Esports, or maybe a team from Singapore, S69.
That'll be
come
fun.
up with a surprise this time.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I was about to say, I mean, Singapore is, I would say, a very underrated region. We have some pros there as well. Would like to see a surprise, but from what you said, Sir Cloud, you've always been like a big fan of the underdog story, and this is definitely nothing new as well. So I completely agree with you about wanting to see newer teams rise up as well. But at the same time, you are looking at teams, we talked about inconsistencies, such as teams from like Austria before as well. And, me wanting to see a little bit more from that team as well is super exciting, because at one point, that team was completely going around dominating the ranks, and then other teams started to really figure out how they play, and they seem to struggle toward the end of the season as well. So I'm really hoping that they have more than one page in their playbook, when you think about it, and this goes for all teams as well. I don't want to see like a day one, you go completely haywire, aggressive, week one is your week, and then suddenly week two, you have no more pages in your playbook, you can't adapt, you can't keep up, and just slowly you just sort of like fall apart. And I think that is one of the biggest heartbreaks I can see from a team, and I would love to see most teams not go through that if they can.
Yeah, we love to see some level of drama as well, right? Like keep
Drama!
the points. Yeah, drama in terms of the points. Like keep the points tight till the last day.
Yeah.
Keep it like as if there could be like maybe 10 teams can go for the championship or something like that, right? That would make it really, really good drama. Don't you like drama, Tash?
I love drama. I was about to say, right, to add to your point, like, add like, only 1 point difference, or maybe you have a 3-way tiebreaker. That will be insane. So everyone's just glued to their screens, about to have a heart attack, and it's like, oh my god, did we make it? Because me too, man, me too.
Yeah, we all love some level of drama there. And maybe we can expect it this season, because again, the stakes are super high. Everyone's going to give their 110%, even when it comes to game one. And speaking about game one, we're going to jump in onto Sanhok, ladies and gentlemen. Sanhok, small map, expect a lot of action. Maybe they will fight it out for Bootcamp. Let's jump into Sanhok and check it out.
Chaotic maps, that's just what it is. Now coming into today, I think at one point the meta was to play at the sides of the circle, gatekeep. A lot of teams try to rotate inside, but I think that's changed now, because everyone decides to go for that prime property instead.
Well, playing by the side, yes, like what you mentioned, looks like PBMS is going to play by the side. They're going to start around the area of Sami, Bantai, Nakam, and that's a pretty safe spot to be in, I must say. My eyes is of course glued towards the two hotspots, Bootcamp and also Paradise Resort. We often see early fights in those two areas. And will there be? Well, we do see like two teams hovering around the area of Bootcamp, but we're going to zoom in here onto RNG and also PG, going to go up with each other.
Early damage put in already onto Jappy, but again, these early fights are never really all-ins quite yet. They just take their time, maybe hopefully steal away some HP, steal away some resources from them, maybe get a knock, which is going to be huge. But again, this early fight's just too risky. Most teams don't want to risk it this early.
Yeah, and what's interesting about RNG as well, just dropping some updates to our viewers, that RNG, aka Rangers, which is their long name, they are former Harame Bros. So this team is no pushover team. And the fact that they have an early encounter with PG, which is Paradise Resort, hailing from the region of Lao, it's going to be interesting to see like a new upcoming team going up against a OG lineup in the Pmcl Sea.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you. You know, when you look at, the OG, I mean, maybe a sense of rivalry will come up. Maybe you want to prove, your org that going to your ex and saying, "Oh, hey, I'm better." But anyway, starting off early here, we range quick knockdown onto a player, but no follow-ups quite yet, no full commission. But they are going to be keeping a quick eye onto their teammates, hoping to bait out another player.
Yeah, and that's Pubgm on the ground now, being held hostage by Range, the IGL of Rangers. And nobody's actually going for him yet. Jipna lost his patience and he will claim that first blood out of the life of Pubgm. So now 3 more players for Paradise Esports. What you gonna do now, my friend?
You know what's really interesting about it as well is the fact that you're really hoping and just waiting to just bait out more players. I think the team really RNG really wanted to go all out here. And you think about it like this, yeah, it was Jappy that took that first hit earlier, nearly dying in that beginning of the encounter. But in the end of the day, they were able to come up on top. But the fight's not stopping yet. We have GX going quite aggressively, finding one member already, but for them, it's just about the wait.
Yeah, because right now Coca-Cola is just waiting for backup to arrive. Here comes the rest of Gen X. And it's going to be a 2v1 or maybe a 3v1 against Kree, the lone player for 214. It's going to be pretty difficult for him. He needs to buy a little bit more time, but his teammates are nowhere to be found, and that one nade will knock him down.
Yeah. Just like that, very quickly. And I think that is the high-risk moment. You do have a 3-1 formation or maybe a 1-1-2 formation. It's very high-risk, high-reward situation. But a lot of teams, they love, especially on this map, yeah, they love the idea of going hunting just a little bit, catch out these stragglers, take them away. Because at this point, every single point matters here, especially on the smaller map. You want to be able to come off away with more elimination points.
Oh, Zuki went away from Astro. So that was a pretty much a close one. Astro now pretty much alone. Managed to deal a decent amount of damage onto the other side. But he's not going all in for it because his other teammates are on the lower ground. Totally understandable. So it's more of him just trying to stamp dominance on this high ground to shoo away his opponents. But now we're back on this fight again. So Paradise Esports versus Rangers. Looks like it's a bit of a standoff between the two.
No one really wants to commit. No one really wants to move here. And I'm not surprised, but surprise! Jappy has been camping on top of that roof for quite some time. Pops his head like a jack in a box. Gets that first hit onto a member of PNG. And then suddenly, everything's just falling apart for PGN. What can you do here? Because you have players like Jipna who's just so adept at going in for that final blow.
Ooh, and Time to Quick Esports, they're passing by. Lucky for these two teams that Time to Quick Esports, they did not stop. Instead, they are on the outer side. So we'll think about them later on. I noticed as well on the elimination feed, looks like Sin is now only down to 1 active player. They were in the fight elsewhere. Looks like more teams are starting to get involved with fights, considering that this is a small map. So it's something that we would expect as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sin at least shooting back here, gets one to their name. Blanks completely eliminated already. At the same time, I gotta give it to these two teams. They've been here fighting for quite some time. Would I say it's a Mexican standoff? Yeah, but it's not a full commit. I gotta give it to RNG. They're very patient here, taking the fights, isolating the players of PG so they're not able to play off each other here. And with that, one member just completely eats the damage from that nade. But at the cost of the teammate's life here. But Lizzie Boy's not done. Shooting back, trying to put at least a little bit of damage into the team. He's all alone here right now. He cannot fight back, cannot pick up his teammates. But at the end of the day here, it's all for naught as they will be eliminated.
Well, it's not only them. Looks like KHI Esports have been eliminated as well, but at least they didn't go down empty-handed. They still managed to score 2 elimination points out of Sin, and Sin only had Emas left. That must have been a really close call.
Has been. They've been fighting for quite some time as well. We saw Sin going for some prolonged fights here. They do shoot back, but it felt like in that moment, in the beginning of these fights, Sin wasn't able to fight back. They're getting picked off one by one.
Yeah, but now the summary for Sin is that they only have 2 players left, so they have to play this a little bit more safer this time. So let's see how long they'll be able to last. As we switch over to the team, they qualified from Singapore. There's S69, and they're going to have a good clear route for now, that is. Probably going to play it a little bit more safer since it's game number 1 for them anyway. But for Time to Quick Esports, key position for them secured. They do have 2 players in the compound, 2 players in the high ground, so that's kind of nice. You have that option in case you need to relocate yourself into either side. Now that you have 2 players on 2 different locations.
Can you tell us a little bit of history for S69 here? I mean, it's been a while since we've seen like Singaporean teams really come up. But, you know what? Holding that thought here, Yahiko barely dodging those bullets, and the circle pulling toward Painan area. So most teams are gonna have to go to the central area regardless of whether or not they want to. But it doesn't seem like it's gonna be too hard of a rotate into the circle for the time being.
Yeah, so you mentioned about S69 earlier on, right? So
their history.
they're from the mystery. Okay, so we'll uncover the mystery. So they're from the Singaporean region, and prior to this, they played under the banner of Flash Vision Esports.
Oh, okay.
So some of the players like Master Toki and Master Riggs, they used to be there, but this time they come with a different branding, probably they went indie or it's a new org. So yeah, but basically these players, they do have the experience of playing in the previous season, including I remember that Snitch actually came out with a very good play last season. So he's one of those players that I'll be looking forward to see if he's able to put up a good performance again this time.
It's always exciting to see a return of a player, right? It's expectations. You have no idea how they're going to be catching up to the meta. You don't know how much their skills have deteriorated or even gotten better in the sidelines as well. So that is something that I'm very excited to see. We were just talking about them. Look at that, NBX in trouble. Players knocked down one by one like flies.
Ooh, okay, and they only have 2 active players now. Now that we have them on screen, looks like XZXY will be the next one to fall, leaving NB with only 2 players left. And they're on the other side, so they won't be involved in any of these fights. Anyway, the point is given away to their opponents. SG, they scored 3 eliminations so far in total.
That was honestly so swift. We're just talking about them. Felt like that was a buff, Sir Cloud. But anyways, coming back to my point is that, you know, it seems so quick how they were able to move together here. And I wish we could have seen how exactly they decided to move as a team. But as of right now, seeing it, how they've positioned themselves, I think they may have choked them.
Yeah, it could be possible, right? And maybe it's not only them. There perhaps could be another team on the other side. That's why they couldn't really relocate to somewhere safer, because by now, surely a lot of these key areas would have been taken by the teams themselves. Just like Burmese goals, for example. This high ground is a key area as long as it's within the circle, of course. You have this high ground, you have the option of going down to this low ground where there's a warehouse, and it gives you extra cover as well. So Burmese goes so far, good start with their location. So pretty much, I guess from what we are seeing right now, a lot of these teams have already secured key spots for them to be at. Perhaps the next big fight might happen in maybe stage 3 onwards.
That will be really exciting, honestly, because, you know, surprisingly, I mean, we talked about this last season as well, right, Sir Cloud, about the Sanok map. We always see aggression coming in, just a minor aggression coming in the first circle, and then it just has to lull down. People just starting to wait for an idea on where to rotate, just waiting on that circle, because it does cover, you know, the first 2-3 circles just cover like a big amount of ground here on this map. But
yeah, and plus this circle is somewhat in the middle of the map, right? So you kind of have some wiggle room to play. Although there's this big river in between, but I guess the teams would decide on whether they want to cross over coming into maybe stage 3, depending on where the circle will go. But on the elimination feed we saw earlier, your prediction for the day, Osja, looks like one of the players got knocked down but not eliminated yet, so it could probably be a long range now.
Could be, it could be. As long as there's no follow-up, we can already kind of safely assume that it's not gonna happen. Okay, here we go. Map feeds happening here. Looking at teams right now, I think RNG is being very smart, hanging on to like two areas of like the main area. But I think they can already pretty much have an idea that they should be moving over their players to the mainland, or at least the bigger island to the right. But for TTQ here, becoming the gatekeepers, keeping the rest of the team out. The same could be said about the rest now, as now Sin is in trouble with GX coming through, taking away so much space as well. CQC, in terms of fights right now, Sin is all alone, fending for his life. And he doesn't chase. Just some preempting sprays in the front side here, making sure that his teammates are not able to fully find him in the end. But like it or not, Fool and Umas cannot hold on here. Fool, alone. Unfortunately for him, that last shot is just not gonna land, so for his team, gonna go down, but with 4 elims, a decent ending for them.
And that's going to be Sin. Unfortunately eliminated, though they scored 4 elimination points before they went out, so as a first game, it's still alright, it's still alright. But we might see the next encounter here. Okay, let's evaluate this. So Osjar on one side, their opponents on the other side, that's going to be Team Max. And because both of these teams are in the circle, well, at most they'll be just poking each other.
In Malay, we call it apa? Suntikan manja.
I don't know any suntikan that is manja, Sash. I don't know what sort of jab have you been getting that is how do you translate manja?
Manja.
Oh.
Sorry, I've been spending so much time with my friend, so I'm learning all of these new terms.
Oh, the Gen Z terms.
I don't know if it's Gen Z, but anyway, hopefully it is, regardless. Moving into this game. Oh, here we go. That's Master X. You said he has a lot of history behind his name.
Yeah, played with, well, he played with RTC before this as well, so definitely not his first showing here at the PMCL. He does have the experience, although generally teams from the Singaporean region has not really been showing up that much. So hopefully this time they will be able to put up a good performance and come up with a good surprise. But I stand corrected. So he played with Flash Vision before. RTC was when he did not play, so he kind of lapsed one season. But maybe that lapse, he would have gone through a rigorous training. But speaking about vigorous training, Burmese goals with their training in hand, they managed to score 1, but one of the players got speed, now knocked down.
It's really good because they were trying to rotate into that circle, thought it was all the way out here in the open, but BG was very patient, playing behind cover, playing with the terrain as well, getting 1 knockdown as well. But for the rest of the team, they're in trouble. PBMS, what are you gonna do here? You're stuck in the corner, blue zone pushing toward you, not allow cover to work with, your teammates bleeding to death. It's either you go out in the open, you take this fight, or you go down to that blue zone. And it feels dire right now.
Going to be super duper hard, right? Yeah, and Ryman is being picked up at this point, but they don't have the time, they don't have the space. Oh, look at the rush in here from the side. Another team actually came in, it's going to be Gen X coming in. They want those points for themselves. They're willing to take that bit of a risk, even though Burmese goals is just right in front, gatekeeping all these teams.
They are feeling very confident. Look at how aggressively they are moving up here, out there in the open, taking up space, denying more space for PBM to even move together here. Gonna be easy to pick up Godspeed, so it shouldn't be a problem here. And his teammates are providing that backline cover fire in case they do decide to push out here for the rest. But the same could be said about TTQ. They're slowly trying to traverse the way onto this high ground.
Everyone wants to go to the high ground looking at this kind of circle. Let's see who will be the king of the high ground, but PBE, MSI have been eliminated, unfortunately. Same goes for NB as well, out at number 11. And we're starting to see teams falling out like flies. 10 more teams to go. And at the side, Burmese goals, they managed to pick up Godspeed. They're back as a 4.
That's what you want, that strength in numbers, firepower extremely high as well. They are still currently at disadvantage, at least 2 of them in the lower ground, and Unknown is in trouble at the very least, but manages to keep himself alive here. His vehicle should go off very, very soon as well. So, like it or not, he has to just vacate the area for the time being. But TTQ, I love what they're doing right now, keeping it straight together, keeping an eye out on not only BG, but also making sure that they have some sort of cover they can just fall back to.
Both Time to Quit Esports and Burmese Goals. These are 2 very, very experienced teams. And of course, a very experienced player here, Ichi on screen, lobs a nade across onto Time to Click Esports. Able to clip a bit of health out of Zuki. Not able to get a knock yet. Second nade set across, but nobody is behind the tree.
Lots of gunfire sounds here as well, but like it or not, these two teams, they need to take this fight. They want to be able to basically go through the gold, go through the guard to be able to get into that circle area itself. And once you're at the high ground here, that middle area where outside of Painan would be huge because it's not only a high ground, it gives you so much space as well in terms of people rotating either from the northern side or even the western side.
Yeah, and Rangers, they have the best access there since nobody's going to stop them from going up to the high ground. But right now, Master Ichi is going to stop Zuki from moving forward. Let's get a knockdown. They tried to kill Master Ichi. They sent a molly, they sent a nade, but none of them connected at all.
It's great because he's just trying to isolate fights using that one rock here. And Unknown somehow managed to just move back, fall back relatively unscathed here. But BG's not done. Understanding the blue one pushing him, they decide to just crunch and completely spray the heck out of the rest of TTQ. Zuki falls. His teammate needs to go a little bit more aggressive as well, as Zuki eventually will be stolen away from Godspeed. But BG, they're not done. They're so aware that the Singaporean team are right behind them.
And that's going to be Silence Got Esports up on that high ground. Going to stop them from coming in further. Burmese goals will fill the wrap of the blue as right now is starting to close. As for Silent God Esports, with the high ground advantage, they'll be able to farm elimination points here. But Burmese goes there ready to get away. But from the side, it's going to be Bunny knocking one down. But Nathan, from afar, takes out Bunny instead.
TTQ has done a phenomenal job of surviving, but unfortunate for them, no points as well. They took up so many fights, but no kill confirmed. And the rest for Silent Gods here, they're just slowly making their way to their fellow Filipino teams. Austria waiting on the top side, full control of that area as well. They need to go up in the open, they need to have an element of surprise somehow, but Austria's positioning is making it so hard for them to be able to take up these fights.
And looks like the fight will continue on with Silence God on the outside of the circle. Being gate kept right now by Austria. Austria looking around for more targets, but at the same time, Jane knocked down. Minor knock on the outside of the blue. Look at this blue, is chasing them down right now. Caps, there will not be much time. There will not be enough time for them to pick him up. And Austria will eliminate Silence God Esports.
Love how they position themselves behind rocks, behind the tree line as well. The top side of that terrain gave them so much value. They were so dominant in making sure that their area will not be breached, but now the circle will eventually pull away from them. Eventually, it's going to be the players inside of Painan, the ones with the compounds that are going to come up on top here. It's going to be, I cannot really see, unfortunately, what team that is, but you want to be able to take away or breach away that compound from them.
And right now, Nadi is waiting inside of the circle. They still have stage 6 circle. Now, there are a couple of teams that don't have the circle across the road. You can see at least 2 of them here. On screen is going to be Gen X, and they need to cross the road. They're going to make them move right now. Taking a bit of risk without that smoke bridge, but they managed to infiltrate the same building as their opponent. Now it's going to be a 2v2 fight. Let's go.
OF just waiting for that right moment here. I'm pretty sure they've already heard the sounds of footsteps here from GX, but one thing I love about GX is how aggressive they can be in terms of wanting to take away this space. The only thing separating them right now are these 2 compound areas, and it's hard to really determine how exactly you want to push into OF. They have the strength in numbers. You have no clue which corner they're holding onto. If you walk into a crossfire inside of a CQC, that will spell death.
Oh, this will spell death here for Unknown, who's up there at the sniper tower, burned down by Nathan from Rangers. Here comes Rangers, moving away from Painan, trying to go up to the high ground. Burmese goals, eliminated. With 5 elimination points, some of the players take it up at the zone. And right now, we have Rangers unstoppable. They're already at 10 elimination points, Dash.
Ooh, they're looking so good right now. Those early fights just really propelled them forward, and they feel really hot right now, especially on this map 1. Bounce 1 knocked already onto a member of Austria. So they need to just really recollect themselves, go for that reset they want to. Dudiko, I don't think he's going to be able to be picked up, so they're just going to let him die at the very least. In terms of numbers, Austria right now dwindling down to only 2. So not the best position to be in, but they do have at least 1 advantage, which is the high ground.
Oh, and the circle favors Rangers. Pulls down to the southern side. Immediately giving that circle advantage towards them. But these 2 teams on screen do not have the circle advantage. It's going to be on Fire Squad versus Gen X. Gen X Coca-Cola. That's right on the outside of this building. Adrenaline shot with the rest of K goes in. Looks to the right, he checked his corner, but he could not let it shot. And it's going to be on fire squad, still on fire.
Yeah, but now they're in trouble as the blue zone is just slowly pushing toward them. They have to go for that reset and he's Victor. I don't know. Astro, yep, no time, so he's gonna go down to the circle. And Natty, desperate times call for desperate measures. No, not enough for him to stay alive. Four eliminations for them, fourth place. Great start.
Well, that leaves us now with 3 teams left. And look at this match. Rangers, a full squad, going up against one active player for Pmcl right now. Tom is currently down. It's going to be all in on the Maniacs. Rangers, they want to claim their first chicken dinner, and they will. Rangers from the Philippines will score the first chicken dinner Pmcl this season.
That is amazing looking at them, how aggressive they were in how they want to deal with teams dropping on top of the same spot as them, going aggressive, playing as a team, separating their fights, very patient early as well. And then toward the end, staying alive as a 4 was their priority, and they were able to just run away with so many points as well. Sanok looks really good for them, it looks really great on them. Congratulations for them with a great opening for this season. I am excited to see how they will fare onto the bigger maps later.
Oh, absolutely right. Absolutely. The bigger maps, and of course, when we roll in Group E as well, because Group E, we do have the champions, Young Galacticos, in that group. But of course, we'll look at that later, because in our next map is going to be still the same grouping. Anyway, for Rangers, congratulations to them. It's not only about this chicken dinner, but they also managed to score more than 10 eliminations. Was it like what, 12 or 13? Look at the numbers on the board too.
Yeah. Now, looking at Jappy, I have to say, I think for this team, every player has a role, right? And it feels like every role was doing their job, pulling their own weight. But Nathan, you can see the amount of eliminations that he has. It's not flashy, it's not aggressive, but it's more of like his team setting him up for success, which is what we want to see. If not great at cleaning up house, Jappy great at being the first contact player, and Range becoming the backline, providing that support his teammates need to take a little bit more space. Love to see this dynamic.
Well, beat Nathan's stats, Tash. Look at this. 5 eliminations, 502 damage, the highest of them all, but 0 damage taken. This guy is invincible this round. He can frag at the same time. Nobody can touch him at all. I mean, try to beat this stat.
Can't. At least not now. So this is a very hot start. I think it's a very statement start from this team as well. You start off great, you have an idea, and you completely dominate. Yeah, I think one of the scariest teams about being hot really early is that you do, run away with your strats a bit too early. But in time, I truly believe on how they play, how they have this energy with each other. You are able to just, play off each other. Not only that, and adapt well as well. So I'm really hoping to see that.
And we'll check out the highlights before the score, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, and here is the match ranking for game number 1. So it's going to be pretty easy to calculate since, well, it's only game number 1, right? So Rangers with the 12 eliminations and the chicken dinner, that's 22 points, putting them on top right now, followed by Gen X with 10 points. Only 2 teams that managed to score a double-digit overall points for game 1. What's interesting is that Sin is here on page 1 without any place on points. So they bank on elimination points to be up there, which is absolutely fine, because at the end of the day, it's about points collected. It doesn't matter how you do it.
I completely agree with you, and I think because we talked about this so many times about how sometimes you can get more elimination points, just really boost you forward. Placement is something you can find balance for, but if you can go aggressive, if you are completely high risk, high reward style play and it rewards you, why not, right? So looking at how aggressively some of these teams play, I think they have an idea on what to expect for Sanok. I believe that some teams like say Boom Esports before this have an idea that they want to go aggressive, they want to go hunt for kills, and that's exactly what they want to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of these teams have an idea like, okay, I think placement points might be a bit hard for this map. Let's try and go for the next best option here. So, knowing that for teams like Sin, like RNG, they have an idea on, or an objective rather, on how exactly they want to approach this map is something to, I would say, take note of.
Yeah, well, the teams that need to take note of is going to be Time to Quit Esports, Nexus Vanguards, and also Paradise Esports, since they went out this round without any points at all. So next round will be a redemption round for them, since we will be rolling the same group again after this. So the same teams will be meeting each other, of course, in a new map, and it's going to be the first time all these teams will meet inside of Erangel. Again, it's going to be the same conversation whether a team will want to try to take over a hot drop spot from anyone else.
Yeah, completely agree with you as well. Now, I think that it's hard to really, in terms of if you want to give power rankings or you want to give an idea what to expect for next game, I think for day one, or rather looking at Sanhok, it's hard to really give a gauge on what to expect you to see. But, again, about what I said about RNG still stands. The idea of how they played as a team, their team dynamics, their, how they move together is already something that I think a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on as well. Regardless, into the top 4 here, these are the stats coming through here as well. Look at distance traveled here. GX, as well as GX, Ozja, as well as Max did travel a lot more further than RNG, which means that in terms of drop spot, RNG did have a bit of advantage in terms of, having to rotate less. But at the same time, for them, having that last rotation doesn't mean they hold on. They decide to go aggressive and take fights, which is what we love to see.
Yeah, and what I love to see about Team Max here is their eliminations. 4 eliminations, but 400 plus damage output. So it's almost one elimination. Well, whoever they shoot, whoever they get, basically. But Nathan from Rangers, he shoots, he scores. Could be hard to beat this stat. 5 eliminations, 502 damage, but the key highlight stat here is 0 damage taken. No doubt with this kind of stat, he is definitely the MVP in Game 1.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you. A lot of pre-fires coming through as well, a lot of holds. This team is very patient as well. They're almost like, like hunters, right? They see, they pray, they don't have to go super aggressive. Wait for them, especially that shot from Jappy just up on top of that building was really terrifying to see. Regardless, we're going to be going to Erangel after this, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. I open it. Welcome back, everyone. Intense Sanok just now completely surprising us all. RNG showing us what they've got early, but can the teams really rally back is the question. Anyways, this is a Pmcl, excuse me, Spring, Southeast Asia. Anyways, I'm Tashmani alongside Sir Cloud, your casters for today. Now, coming into the bigger map, you're going to be looking at Irangle.
Yes, so the OG map that, well, every player would have played it. I mean, if you have not played Irangle before, well, you clearly have not played any Pubgm Mobile, so trying to log in into the game and play some Irangle at least. But expectations-wise, because it's going to be the first Irangle that this group will be meeting each other, right? So it's going to be kind of hard to tell, like, who's going to meet each other. Is Pachinki going to be a hard fight? Is Rosal going to be a hard fight? Is School going to be a hard fight? I mean, these areas are in the center of the map.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can expect teams to maybe fight for the right to be in those areas.
Oh yeah, you want to see early fights. I wouldn't be surprised if teams are going to be, testing the waters, trying to figure out if they're going to be able to wrestle away these spots. End of the day, right? I think for a lot of teams, they have an idea where to drop. They have their, their reverse drop spot as well in case something were to happen. Flight paths are not handled, dropping toward them as well. Excuse me, I cannot English today for some reason. But moving into that as well, you already see an idea of how some teams are playing here. A lot of teams, I believe, are loving that idea of playing aggressive, going for elimination points. We saw that on Sanok. I wouldn't be surprised if that same mindset came here as well, especially the Filipino teams. They love to play aggressive. They love that little edge on early fights as well. So this is something I'm looking forward to see. Rather than a slower pace from the beginning of the map, I want to see some early fights. So, as you said, Sir Cloud, you love aggression. I love aggression. And you are rooting for the underdog story. Maybe me too. Who knows?
Yeah, and I would love to see the underdog teams really making it through, right? So let's see. Because now we're still at the group stages. So there's like, 16 slots? That's a whole ton of slots there that teams can eye for. So to a certain extent, well, of course you have starting points later on, but to a certain extent, whether you're number 1 or number 16, it's still fine as long as you see the light of day at the Grand Finals, because the Grand Finals is where it all matters, because there will be the ticket towards Esports World Cup that will be happening in the middle of this year in Riyadh. And of course, there's a huge chunk of prize pool there waiting for the teams. And I believe the other day I was just looking over at some of the numbers, right? Like, even if you're at the last place, you still get a lot of money from Esports World Cup prize pool. So that is something that the players will be eyeing for.
Yeah, it's a prestigious title if you think about it. It's not only just a prize pool, it's you're putting your name on the map here globally as well. I think for a lot of teams, especially regardless of whether you're going to be on the bigger stage, a smaller stage, or anything like that, when you start pro play, you want to be able to play against the best in the world. You want to be able to play up there. And being in Esports World Cup is definitely, I would say, proof of that, other than going to Pmcl Sea at the end of the year, right? Now, when you look at the teams as well, now as we move into Irangle, I think we're going to be looking at A, B, C, and D. As you said before, it's going to be the same rotations again. So most of these teams, well, all of these teams, excuse me, are going to be very, very warmed up. They have played Sanok as well. They have an idea on how to play with each other. But, as you said just now, Sir Cloud, you don't know about these drop spots on these areas, right? So there is that question mark for all of these teams. The nerves are going to be like shaking, like, okay, what are we going to be expecting? Are we going to be expecting early fights? How are we going to be prepping against that? Because we have seen teams that do have a protocol on how to deal with hot drops, but what about teams that gets caught off guard?
Yeah, so that's where the fun begins, right? It's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Same goes for the teams as well. Like, they wouldn't know, like, are they going to meet another team? Are they not going to meet another team? And that's what makes it exciting. The unknown is what makes it exciting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you always know, like, okay, if you open a pack of rice and you already expect that, okay, it's going to be curry there, it's going to be maybe a piece of chicken there, then it's like, yeah, it's nothing exciting. But imagine, Tash, I send you a pack of rice not knowing what's in it. Would you be excited?
If I opened a pack of rice and I found noodles, I'm going to be like, Cloud, you betrayed me. I was expecting rice.
Hey, and that's where the fun is, right? But it makes it even more fun. What if I tell you that, Tash, I send you a pack of rice and you open its ice cream?
Oh, that one I like. That one I like.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Because it's like, it was supposed to be a meal, but instead I got dessert. And I love dessert. You know what I'm saying?
We're not going to start the whole ice cream thing again, and both of us end up getting ice cream after the show.
I feel like we're gonna end the day with ice cream again this time. I wouldn't be surprised. It's such an us thing, no?
Oh no, Tash, you're doing it again. You're implanting it right now. If any of our viewers actually, like, maybe, who knows, right? Like, after the show, they get ice cream for themselves. Do tag us on social media. We'd like to see what sort of ice cream you like to. And if actually Tash's hypnosis actually work out all of you as well.
Ooh, like that, okay, faham. Okay, now coming into today, let's talk a little bit more about the teams, the players. I mean, out of all these teams, I mean, we talked a little bit about Singapore just now, what we expected for them, wanting to see them rise to the top. I mean, it's rare to see have a season where we have more than maybe 2 or 3, Singaporean teams. Seeing one there, it's just making us already happy. The representation that we're seeing there is already exciting. But Sir Cloud, I think you talked a little bit about expectations for the team as well. And I know we've only seen one map played by S69. In just maybe from that glance of the game, right? Can you give us a hypothesis on how they would do?
Oh, for S69, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, they are an experienced lineup, and I personally do like Snitch from what I've seen last season. He did put off a highlight play last season. It was a solo chicken dinner run, and he actually did it for the team that time. He was playing with RTC. So yeah, I mean, if he's able to pull off that sort of gameplay last season, and coupled with like these experienced players like Master Toki, Master Riggs, even Labo, who we have seen before in previous editions of the PMCL, I believe this is the season for them to come up, go, reach to the grand finals, and then who knows, snatch that EWC slot. If a Singaporean team goes to EWC, it is groundbreaking, because we have never had that before, a Singaporean team on the international stage in PUBG Mobile esports. And if they can do it, wow, man, that would make me really happy, seeing a team that maybe people wouldn't expect actually making it.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun run if you think about it. In terms of representation, there's only one team there. It's like, beating the impossible, carrying all the odds on your back, making it to the top. It's also very exciting to see as well. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I would love to be able to see that, just to see in terms of representation as well. But coming into today as well, I think the same could be said about Laos, right? I mean, Laos as well. They don't have a lot of representation, especially onto the stage this season as well. But can you share with me a little bit about what we can expect to see? I mean, Paradise Esports logo, what do you want to see, or rather, what do you know about them?
Well, what's interesting about Lao and their lineup, right, is that they do have an experienced player called Honda, who has played in the professional stage before, and I believe that he represented the country during the SEA Games in Cambodia. Wow. As well. Yeah, so you have a player who's like international standard within their lineup. And then you have like there used to be a play called Pubgm back in the day. So I'm still wondering, is this the same Pubgm as before? And I'm not referring to the football Pubgm, of course. I'm referring to the PUBG Mobile esports Pubgm. So at least 2 familiar names that I've seen before in the lineup of Paradise Esports. And the rest of them, they are pretty new names to me, so I don't really have much information on their background. But I also want to point out the fact that in their lineup, they also have this player called Caesar. And fun fact, Caesar is from Thailand and is playing with a Lao team. So Tash, this is something that I discovered with a Lao friend.
Okay.
Apparently, people from Lao, they are able to speak Thai as well.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so they can communicate, like,
it's just so
use Thai
easy
to communicate.
Yeah. yeah, this is new to me. Well, TIL, today I learned something which is super exciting as well. I was about to ask you, like, how they communicate in terms of language, but, that's solved already as well. And, I love the idea of seeing more more players being imported. I mean, it's nothing new, right? Especially toward the PMSL stage as well. We started to see players from Malaysia and Indonesia just sort of like, move countries, across the river, which is also very exciting because I think for a long time, when you look at a lot of teams here, they love to play with their local players. So the idea that, players are being moved around as well shows us that, maybe some form of like, you don't know how another country or another region plays. You bring a little bit of the spice from that certain country into your team, give a little bit of a change up in your team's playstyle, just really surprise people and allows you for so much adaptability and different perspectives as well, which is honestly very exciting to me.
Yeah, the sugar, spice, and everything, maybe not so nice depending on who's fighting against them.
Yeah.
But they did have a good start though in Sandhawk. But well, if we were to give them, some leeway, their first fight in Sandhawk, they were up against Rangers, who eventually scored the chicken dinner. So you can kind of tell yourself that, you know what, we lost the fight against a team that eventually scored the chicken dinner. So it's like, it's okay. We can still make it happen in the following round. So
Yeah.
I don't think Paradise Esports has been given the space or that room to show what they can do best. But in a bigger map like Irango, maybe it's their time to shine.
Yeah, and I know that when you talk about Sanhok, it's such a different dynamic when it comes to playstyle, speed, and tempo as well. Some teams are just, they just don't prefer smaller maps. They just shine on bigger maps, and we've seen that happen many, many times. They have really, rough times on Sanhok, but completely dominate when it comes to Miramar and Durango. Regardless, coming into this bigger map, as you said before, there's a lot of expectations coming out here. This is where you can really gauge the power levels of most of these teams in terms of playstyle, in terms of rotations, adaptability. Day one is a day of getting to know each other. This is the day where you have to really know how to adapt.
Yeah, and let's see if the teams are able to adapt right now because it's going to be the first Irango for this season, featuring the same teams from the Sandhawk match. And Irango, it's a very balanced map, but can they show balancing here? Let's go.
You want to get to know each other on this map. You want to get to know how to play off each other on this map as well. This is the day where everything's being put to the test. You're going in blank slate, nothing to go off of unless it's bots from the last few seasons.
Yeah, we're going to pop off the flight path here from the north side of shooting range all the way down to military base. And speaking about military base, as always, I love to see a military base circle. I wouldn't mind if the entire day is like a military base circle. I love it. I love it as much as you love ice cream.
Betul lah. Correct lah. I completely agree with you lah. Now we're actually seeing two teams dropping up toward this northern side already, which I'm super excited to see. That'll be Saverni that maybe is going to be contested, unless of course S69 decides to drop elsewhere. Rozhok, as you predicted, is going to be a very, very busy city as well. So wow.
Yeah, so Rozhok, we see a couple of teams actually fly in that direction. I see Burmese goals on top of it, and they're probably going to land directly into Rozhok. Pochinki looks like it's going to be only Rangers. So the big four is actually taking the center of the map, so that's pretty confident of them. And no other team seems to be challenging them for Rozhok. Circle-wise, going to be centered around Yasnaya, so it's going to be a okay circle. But we're going to head up north right now to Saverni, where we have two different teams here.
I agree with you as well. Now, Saverni, I'm quite surprised that two teams decided to drop there. I was maybe expecting one of the teams decided to move elsewhere, maybe towards Stalber, maybe toward, Yasnaya, but that didn't happen. So, I expect it's going to be a very intense fight here over on this side. But because there's so many compounds, which means that this aggression will be halted momentarily.
Yeah, so it looks like what you say, right? Because it's a compound fight, it's an urban warfare, so everyone's going to take their own corner. And that includes S69 here. And Gen X on the other side. So let's see who will come out on top. But S69, they do have an option to exit down south. Since they are by the roadside, they should be able to get a vehicle. And let's see if they're still going to stay here to try to challenge their opponent and maybe try to pick up more points. This could be an opportunity for them. I mean, it's also a way to see things, right? Like whether you want to see
Mm.
the cup half full or half empty is totally up to you. You can
Yeah.
see it as an opportunity to gain eliminations, or maybe an opportunity to, I don't know, just stall time and get away.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can just decide to be like, you know what, we like early fights, let's just go for it. Why not, right? Now, looking at the map feed, I'm seeing a lot of teams that are just not in the circle quite yet. I'm quite surprised at how busy it is to the northwest side of the island of the map as well. Zarki, we have a team there, it's just KHI. We're looking at two teams over the northern and southern side of Georgia Paul as well, which is also super exciting. Gatka completely empty, not empty, sorry, except for Ostia as well. So some of these teams, like as you said just now, right, a team that dropped in Pochinki, very high risk situation, but you have no clue who's going to be dropping there. So you decide to play high risk, high reward, and you're going to be highly rewarded for it.
Yeah, high risk, high reward is the key, right? Especially for teams like who have not scored that many eliminations or that many points in the previous round, and you want to play a bit of a catch up. So it looks like they are planning to go for the high risk, high reward sort of gameplay. And both teams locked in into Yasnaya, into Saverni, not getting out yet. But I guess that's also because like the first circle, stage one circle is still within it. So naturally they would have a bit more time for them to play. But Master Toki from S69 decided to go out and scout, grab a vehicle, probably going to come back to pick up his teammates.
I think this is good. I mean, you want to go out to scout, you want to be able to go for loot, you want to be able to see if anyone's just, hanging around the checkpoints close by as well. So it helps if you think about it. Now, I'm also looking at your favorite area here, Sir Cloud, which is SMB. One team has completely taken over that area and they're just completely walking around the island, taking their time. It's so open, so free for them. But my worry about this particular team is if they decide to rotate toward the northern side as well. And NX, when you think about it, they have it PBM just hanging around the southern side of farm, watching the eastern bridge like a hawk. Could spell doom.
Oh, this could spell doom for S69 because another player actually left, leaving only two players here. So if GX, they have that information, they know that it's a good time for them to try to rush in. But okay, here comes Cabo to pick up the other two members. Okay, they're out of here. All right, so it looks like they decided not to stay. But the spray by Nero,
Oh,
let's see if
that's
we
a
can get
perfect
anything
spray.
out of this. A lot of damage onto S69. One more spray at S69. They will drive off to the sunset.
Barely surviving by the skin of their teeth too. That was very, very high risk. They could potentially have lost two players in that particular scuffle, but you know what? They paid off. They got another vehicle on top of that as well. So props to them.
Yeah, so they decided to like just leave, which is okay. Because if we kind of looked at their utilities, I don't think they have much to loot because they were cornered in Severny. So you might as well leave there, go to somewhere else, loot, and see you in the final stages. So that's absolutely fine.
We're starting to see those rotations come in as well toward the eastern side of the circle. I think teams are starting to move upwards. PBM as well has already started to move up here. So the area of Farm and Milta completely empty. So NX can take their time. If they just want to just rotate up here, they can go for a later rotation if they want to as well. Could be massive for them. Now, I'm also kind of curious to see, like not see, but I'm just kind of surprised that we're not seeing early aggression come out as well. I mean, especially teams that are dropping in the same spot as each other. It's not really a full commit onto these fights.
Yeah, nobody's really putting in the full commitment yet, right? I guess like the theory, like we mentioned, because it's day one. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to kind of feel the ground, feel how the other teams play. So they don't want to overcommit. And plus, we're still at like what, 16 teams, 64 players. If you go out at this stage, it's going to be zero
It
placement points.
hurts. Yeah.
So you don't want to take that risk, and it will truly hurt, like what you said.
I mean, granted, TTQ, NX, and PG, especially for them, I think this map particularly matters. It's not too far away to play catch up. Talked about aggression early. We did see a bit of Grand Theft Auto action as we are looking at OF just pass by each other. Just cute sprays, but never really, again, never really full commits. Now, coming back to my point here is that these three teams, they want to be able to survive. They want to be able to get some form of points here as Zuki gonna spot up one, steals away his life as well to give themselves at least some points. PBM, so Sarimon is gonna fall, but it is gonna be traded out here. So teams losing 1-for-1, and TTQ, they're just completely collapsing, rushing out forward here. PBM, they cannot hold on. Sarimon still needs to be picked up. I don't think it's gonna be happening as the rest of the team is just gonna completely scatter.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna have to leave Raimon behind. Unfortunately, if they really want to go for it, well, then they have to try to get a long-range knock on the members of TTQ. We have one more here scoping them down, trying to find a good opportunity, but Raimon finally will be eliminated by Suki. One more, trying to get a revenge knock at least, but not able to land enough damage. Now he has to leave.
You lost two in the initial scuffle as well, so it's not a great situation when you lose two this early. I mean, it's a 2-for-1 trade, like it or not. It's still a loss on your side, losing two members, losing a lot of firepower as well. But there is an upside to this as well. You can play a little bit more passive. You can just play CQC. You can camp, go for long range kills if you want to. Just survive all the way. Just maybe get a few pickoffs toward the end of the few circles. Maybe get the top 4, top 5. That's enough for them already.
So as long as you're able to survive for top 5, definitely what will come together with it is elimination points. So when you bundle them up together, it should be pretty decent. And plus we're just day one, so you want to kind of try to keep some level of pace. Yeah, it's always cool to be at number one, gain, but if you are in the middle in day number one, that's okay because there's still many more days to go with many more games to play. But on the elimination feed, looks like we do have a couple of eliminations happening, and that's actually around the
Yeah, the rotations right now as well. A lot of teams just really rushing toward the circle, but one team that's not is really taking their time is Austria, just taking their time playing to the side here. Say could be set about 2-4. Deciding to go a little bit late could be a strat as well. You're going to be missing out on a lot of these early rotations and teams, but fights are still happening. PHI and S69 just going full on out war right now. Lavo taking a lot of space, rushing in with his teammates. Door broken already. One member knocked down as Lavo runs away with a point. PHI, they want to shoot back, but it's not going to be easy as well. You can't really point out where the other members are as S69 decides to play hand-holding with each other. It's a perfect nade as Lavo steals another life to his team, but they're not done. Yanks throwing in the shot, beautifully coming out forward, but will be knocked down. Demi West, last man standing. Can he hold on?
Yes.
No, he can't. And Master Rix gonna just completely go haywire crazy with 3 eliminations in this scuffle, and they're able to reset all 4 alive.
Yeah, S69, they did not lose a single player in that fight, but they gained 4 eliminations. Nice rush in there into Yasnaya to finish off KHI, but KHI, too bad for them. They go out without a single point. So now they remain at pretty much the very bottom. And the fact that we still have Texas Vanguards and we also have a PG still in the game, there is a possibility that KHI will be pushed down even further.
Yeah, NBA has a nice area as well near the Yasnaya Poliana, holding on 2 areas. Here we have 2 players, a 2-2 formation where we have 2 of their players holding on the outer side, hoping to see if anyone's just rotating out, scouting first, but the other 2 holding onto the inner side. My question for NB right now is that we have a full team 2-for-1 rushing up into them as well. So it is going to be a 2 versus 4. That is my concern here.
Oh, my concern is for the final player of On Fire squad.
That too.
Sanking the blue is alone, and if he goes out now, no placement points, only 1 elimination point, and I wonder how far he is from the circle. Speaking about the circle, we see the circle shift. Gonna be still a kind circle on the outskirts of Yasnaya, in between Yasnaya as well as mentioned. The teams will definitely be hitting there. That includes 214, who's still on the northern side of the island.
Oh yeah. If they go to the northern side, they're going to be in trouble. 2 players of NB waiting. If they go to the southern side, same thing as well. But right now, looking at SG, they have a huge chunk of area of Yasnaya Poliana in their control. And, you know, for them, this is massive. This is huge because they're right smack dab in the circle. They have a compound as well. They're holding on like 2 sides of the street toward the middle side. So if anyone were to cross, they could take advantage of that as well. But at the same time, with S69 coming out forward, they could potentially be going into a fight just to wrestle off that control of the big area they're holding.
And here comes Burmese goals. They want to hold the northern side of this circle. They're splitting up, trying to get as information as possible. And here are the players from Nexus Vanguards trying to guard the entry point. But on the other side, now we have Michi all alone from 214, surrounded by NB. And there's no way he's going to be able to get out of this. He will be knocked down in the blue.
Oh, yeah, that's just really unfortunate. I mean, we talked about the rotations as well. I was concerned about NB, about how they're going to be holding on here, but they were quick to relay the information and the other two rotated forward, rendezvoused with each other, and immediately took this fight. But NB, they still have things to say. 214, going to lose another player as well. They want to take this fight in this blue, holding on here, becoming the gatekeeper. And 214, they have lost 3 members being knocked down. The other player says, okay, sayonara for now. I cannot pick up my teammates. All I can do right now is survive.
But newborns would make sure that these knockdown players will not survive. But at the same time, I guess they're still on the chase. But we switch over right now to Burmese goals. It looks like Ichi is in trouble. Right now going up against GX. Ichi all low, 40% of health. Ichi tries to fight back. Nathan gets one player somewhere else. At the same time, Ichi goes up, but immediately knocked back down with the DBS by Sin.
We gotta give it to Sin. I mean, he managed to just juke all of those nades, but they also have another protocol in mind if they decide to go aggressive, which is gonna be met with the DPS to the face. So for them, this is huge. Another big fight happening here right in front of us. RNG, the kings of Sanhok in the previous map, and they are not slowing down. Aggressive as ever. Paradise is just going to be completely obliterated here. Isn't it deja vu on how it happened? Because RNG dropped them early last map and they dropped them again this map as well. So like it or not, Paradise, they're going to have to figure Paradise Esports, they're going to have to figure out a different way to just not meet against this team because they're not winning their fights.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's twice in a row that they met and Paradise did not win against them. But Rangers, they already have 5 eliminations. But now we're going to put focus on the Lion. He arrived onto the compound where, well, there's another team there, so it's going to be a 1v. Wait, what? Did he actually win that?
That's
against
crazy.
Taito Esports? He actually did! He pulled off a solo clutch! Man, I want to see a replay on that.
Me too, man. Me too. That was insane. I think he knew how to play it, hurt the vehicle, and just kept quiet, just completely blew it off. And just like that, he got 2, completely overtaking the other teams. He's just making the impossible happen right now, which is what we love to see. These solo plays, to see how long you're going to be able to survive. Regardless, right now, NB talked about how aggressive they were, how they will be able to fight earlier, but they're not able to hold on. They're slowly dying off like flies. But for Silent Gamers, they're still aggressive. GX, what are you going to do here?
Yeah, and we also have a GX here with a nade onto them. It came from Miner. One more nade onto Claude. Claude is in trouble. But first, he will focus on picking out his teammate, popping up that smoke just to give a little bit more protection. The third nade will knock at that 4th nade as well, so he's still fine for now. He'll be back up real soon. But now, Newborns will be going up against NX. And here we go. The fight's happening with Z. He has to leave the compound. He's on the outer side right now, navigating around the smoke.
Oh my god.
And here comes the rest of NX. And looks like Newborns will be reborn again in the next round.
Newborns weren't able to hold. They were completely choked. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't run. They were surrounded from all corners here. And for NX, I had a bit of concern of them trying to breach the compound, but they have different ways of dealing with it. They had a late rotation coming in from Super Loki. They didn't need him in the end, but making sure that your backs were completely covered and also having that extra layer in terms of firepower is massive, and that landed them that W.
And that's Osjar on screen. Unfortunately, 2 players knocked down. Top will be taken out by Lion from 214. The final player of 214, still breaking the frags for the team. On the other side, we have Duktiko here. And he got Jatra. And he'll be able to pick up this point for free. That's going to be the first point for Osjar. Can you believe it? Up to now, only 1 point for this round for Osjar.
Kind of surprising, honestly, especially with their track record, right? But I have to say, for Austria, Dogdiko just now, he was the first player to be knocked out of, Austria. Wasn't able to survive. I mean, he's slowly making his way back into the game. Perhaps a slow cook is what Austria is. But it was a very, very, I would say, risky play just now to come out from behind that tree, get that pick off, and hide again. Because he could have died there because the rest of the team had their barrels pointed straight toward him.
Oh, by Austria, they're recovering though. 3 players back up, and they want to take this fight against Nexus Vanguards, who's playing on the inner side of the circle. in the middle of the Yasnaya field. But Jane
Oh,
is
man.
taking damage from the side. He actually came for Godspeed for Burmese goals.
Such an open area as well. You only have cover from the front side. I don't think Jane can hold on for some time anymore here. But Burmese goals, despite losing two members, they're still fighting back. They're still managing to get their first point in. They're trying to go for survivability, but they're still not counting out all the fights they can get, stealing away any points they can get here. As Ozja, they're struggling here. That late rotation is becoming, the bane of their existence right now because they are being gatekept from going into that circle on the northern side of Yasnaya. It's a big field here. It's out there in the open, and they're slowly running out of members.
But they'll be slowly running out of space right now because circle hard shift towards the northern side. Good amount of teams actually in this circle, but we also have other teams on the outside, especially on the south. So teams within the circle, it's all about being chilling right now, evaluating their next move. They still have the time. But for Loki from the side, he tries to get Osja, tries to get the flank in. Now X will get Superboy instead. And the recovery will happen inside the building, so he should be able to be back up soon.
That's a situation where I was supposed to kill you, but I didn't get him in the end here. But RNG this time in trouble. Silent Gods were just silently waiting for them. RNG completely punished for trying to breach that compound here. Two members knocked down already here. Numbers not on their side. Needs to be reset and picked up here. But as soon as Jaffe as well as teammate push into that compound, immediately deleted. What are you gonna do here? Yes, they managed to get the pickup again. Range is all alone on the bottom side here. And the rest of the team are just hunting him down. Miner rushing up forward here, knows exactly where range is. His teammate will go down at the very least, so 1 point will at least be secured for RNG, but very dangerous predicament to be in.
The hunt is still happening here. They're looking for range. Find a player for Rangers. ITR himself. We need to put up a captain's performance. Here comes Miner right in front of Range. Range knows exactly where Miner is at. He's on the other room. A nade on the Miner will not connect. And here is Range dealing the damage of the Miner. A little bit more for Range to get Miner. Miner knows the danger. He jumps back out to the ground floor. Out to safety. Swaps his position with Caps.
You don't want to be isolated in these fights. The CQCs could be dangerous. We've seen these situations where 1v3s, 1v4s even against one player. But he's not done. A lot of free fires, but that reload will eventually be known. And the same could be said about Sin right now as he's being caught out there in the open. BG unknown. You gotta give it to this guy. Very aggressive, all alone out here in the open, but still trying to steal away some points.
And that's going to be Rankit, the Riz Kid currently down. But finally, looks like the rest of SG, they found a range, and this is going to be Rangers eliminated. They go out with 6 elimination points this time. Still pretty decent, but because of the fact that GX and Team Max is still active in this round, who knows? They can come out with enough points to overtake the #1 spot.
Surprised Austria is still able to hold on there. Right smack dab in the middle of that field. Outside of Yasnaya Poliana, barely any cover. Crunch between 3 teams. They gotta stay prone. They gotta just hide. They can't move. They can't pop up their heads either. Now coming in from here, S69 has managed to just breach the compound where SG were in trouble right now. A lot of footsteps heard. So there's not a lot of space to work with. You're on the top side here. You want to be able to isolate fights here, making sure that you're able to get those shots perfectly landing to be able to come up on top.
But the shot perfectly landed on the Mon Boy. Now Mon Boy is the one that's in trouble. And Skadi is going in to save him. Okay, he managed to reach Mon Boy, but the gunfire is still happening. And both of them just got eliminated. Skadi, he had good intentions. He had good heart. But Burmese Ghost says, good heart will not win you fights in the battleground, and they will take over their points.
Oh yeah, Burmese goals, they're still shooting. They lost a lot of players very, very early, but they've been really focusing on long-range fights, positioning as well, and they're not really too full to commit. They're just trying to see how many points they're going to be able to come off with, and it's looking great for them despite the big loss they had early. Right now, they've already gotten 4 eliminations as they move here, plus they've able to survive this long as well, so it should really push them somewhat forward as well.
Now we have MM and Caps here representing SG. And they actually take over this compound, or actually win this fight against S69. Both teams on the outside circle. The zone will close in about 15 more seconds. S69 now managing Team Max at the same time. Team Max, they're also looking for a way to get into the circle, but with S69 shooting them from the side, it's going to be really difficult right now. S69 is going to commit onto SG. Here we go, 2v4.
I'm quite shocked just that was very high risk play from Masatoki, but he had a lot of faith in his teammates here. Uses the nades, uses the mollies to make a bit of space for them, but they're not flushing out any of the members of SG here. Staying very silent in the corner here. Master Rick's trying to find a different angle to play with, and finally it's a tag team between two players here. Perfectly done in terms of crossfire as well to give them that first point. There's still another number to worry about. It's Casper gets his perfect knock as well, seals away a point, and this is working out so well for him. Other members of S69, they're crippled, and they have to find another way to play this well. A lot of util thrown out as well. Caps is on fire. He's all alone as well. He hears the roar and sounds of the vehicles, but it doesn't disturb Caps. He's still putting in the pain, still putting in the bullets, and now as S69 is running away, we have Max waiting on the side. Labo in trouble. Labo about to get knocked. No, not enough. But it's gonna be Claude that steals away that pick.
Caps did a bit of a boo-boo there with the molly. We saw that it was caught in 4K. But let's see if any interesting action here can be caught here. Right now we have Oscar Esports rushing in. One more player to go, and they're looking for him inside the building. And Oscar will get that elimination onto Nexus Vanguards, taking them out with 5 elimination points.
Max in trouble right now. Beautiful nade from Max. So Max gonna be able to run away with this as well. Still good for them because they were able to not only steal away the 2 members from that team, but also as 69 as they were in the midst of rotating. So in a way, they had been waiting for the right opportune moment to take advantage of this fight, this long, prolonged fight as well.
And here's Team Max. Welcome to the edge of the circle, but they're not in a comfortable spot yet. They're looking for the next compound to probably siege down. It's only been helped by the members of Sin. Got Cool and WXKX there. Just holding on that compound. That could probably be their next destination. Unless Team Max want to rotate to the left side, that is going to be a different story. But for now, they're probably still holding on to the circle since they have about 20 more seconds before deciding on where exactly they want to go.
Yeah. Right now, Austria, I'm honestly so impressed with Austria right now. We were just commenting about how they were in a very dangerous situation. They were out there in the open. They were crunched by so many different teams. But somehow, in terms of survivability, they're so alive right now. They don't have a lot of cover, a lot of space to work with, but they're still holding on here. But like it or not, they're going to have to cross soon here. The only player that's stopping them right now is going to be BG.
Yeah, and Austria right now, they don't have the circle, so they have to move forward from the north coming in. But we're going to put a bit more focus on the Team Max and Sin at this point. Both sides still having the circle, but very likely Stage 8 will not favor either one of them. So they have to figure out how they're going to deal with each other for now. Sin, they do have a fortress with the compound. But for Team Max, they do have the numbers. If they crash in, it's a 3v2. But they're evaluating their risk right now. When will be the right timing for them to go? Because at this moment, Sin knows that Team Max is here. They are 100% giving their concentration onto Team Max.
So many teams on the southern side as well, like you said just now. But yeah, you are right. They have to make a choice at the very least. They want to have to make sure, like, how exactly are we going to be navigating these fights? Are we going to commit, go all in here? And as things go right now, Austria, they do have a compound to play with. They just slowly made their way toward the circle as well. But the problem with coming out of the compound is that there is that open area in front of them. How are you going to play this? You have vehicles, you have some cover at the very least. The amount of firepower, like what Austria is doing right now, is going to be a big problem. Your cars are going to explode. You have no clue which stray bullet is going to hit you in the head and put in that damage.
Yeah, spraying across onto Team Max, putting pressure onto them. As for Team Max, well, they still have the circle, so not as much pressure as Austria. Right now, zone is starting to close. Same goes for Gen X. They have to get out of this compound. They're not in the circle. But the moment they step out, there will be a lot of crosshairs onto them. As Sin, still looking out on Team Max. Waiting for the, but I believe that Team Max won't be making the big moves yet. They'll be waiting for Austria to come in. As Austria, the moment they step in, Nero gets Nang Axe. And Team Max might be the one to secure that elimination point. Waiting for the elimination feed to roll. Team Max, they actually got Nero in the process.
It's very well played as well, very patient. They had their eyes on all the teams just moving forward. Anyone that just pops their head in, any side of movement is just complete spray as well, making sure that they're able to just really run away or put in as much damage as they can. Again, for Team Max, they're opportunists. They love waiting for these early fights as well, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be passive. Nade's thrown out already just to put in a bit of damage. Flush GX from their corner, but it's not happening right now. As the circle pulls into this middle side area as well, they still have to find a way to rush up forward here. Open area, barely any cover as well, yeah.
favors Team Max with Claude, okay, at the side, but they kind of know that Claude was there. They had an idea that somebody was on their left side. If only they have the information that it's only Claude there, they will go for it. And that's exactly what they're doing right now, gathering information. They should be able to see Claude, and Claude all alone, phoning down. They should be able to find an angle. They managed to clear out Claude, and now they have the entire left side of the circle for Team Max to play.
So called surgical, very patient, doing a due diligence, making sure that you're gonna be able to take these fights one by one. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And Max is that example today. Very patient, waiting for the right time to just breach these fights as well. Sin now, yeah, they have cover to play with. They have a corner as well, but in terms of firepower, they don't have a lot to work with as well. And they also have to worry about that last member, coming up from the northern side as well. Okay, never mind. It's gonna be eliminated finally for eliminations, but Burmese Ghouls, this is a great run for them. Surviving this long with only 2 players from the beginning of the game is massive. Now, Sin, they're in trouble here. They're going to get completely choked right now. Cool out in the open, and there's a high-risk play, but he did manage to get that first knockdown. Rushing up. Going to try to take advantage of the situation that Max is going to have to go for that reset. And his teammate is going to slowly move out there in the open. Nade's thrown out, but it's not going to hit its mark.
But you, at least he has a good angle against Cool. Now forcing Cool to put a little bit more attention onto you, allowing Trezzy to be picked up, and he's going to be back up again. Cool will be taken out by you. It's going to be only WXKX now up against the wall, up against T-Max, a 3v1. And it seems like the final playoffs in, he might not have a good spot here. The zone is just right behind him. He managed to get one knock onto you, but then again, they will reset easily. WXKX, he does not have a vehicle. He has to rush it all alone right now, out in the open. Going up against the T-Max, left, right, center. He will be shot down, and nothing will stop T-Max from claiming chicken dinner number 2.
Oh man, Max, that is impressive how they decide to play that map. We love to see the decision making here. They wanted to go for a reset, but it's just well done how they said, you know what, forget that reset. It's a 2v1. Pop out together. Don't allow us to go into these 1v1s where they're able to come up on top. And that crossfire they had in the end was that cemented that chicken dinner they had for today. Amazing stuff coming from Max. Very surgical. Love to see it.
Yeah, the keyword that you mentioned, surgical. They divided their strategy like, okay, do we want to focus on to Sin? Do we want to focus on to whoever's on the left side or whoever's at the front? And they waited patiently for the circle to decide on what they're going to do next. And that's exactly what they did. They found the best opportunity on the left side. There's a little bit of cover with that hill in that final moment where we saw them play against Sin. And they know that once they conquer that side of the hill with that amount of cover and they've cleared off everyone else, it's going to be an advantage for them to go up against Sin. Even though Sin has that compound, but they didn't really have the circle. They were forced to go out, and that's where Team Max landed the final blow.
Yeah, they were already up there in terms of, I would say, survivability as well, making sure that they're able to pick up their teammates, survive as a 4. And I think that's been a recurring theme for today, if you think about it. Both teams that had the chicken dinners for today both ended as a 4. Now, coming into this one, I love in terms of, yeah, they had the advantage in terms of high ground terrain, but they also had a nice formation coming out. The 2-1 on the top side there, alongside their teammates rushing up a little bit more forward as well, which is really impressive because you have you watching flanks as well as his teammates trying to go for a pickup or providing the cover fire with the crossfire as well. So that's super, super important. Yes, WKX did try to go a bit more aggressive, just not take up space, but the amount of bodies they had was just not enough. Regardless, we're going to be talking about this later, so let's have a look at the highlights.
And here's the match rankings after not yet 2 games. This is only for that particular match. So in case you're wondering, oh, tabulating the scores and all of that, don't worry, it'll come up next. But right now, we got to celebrate Team Max here, scoring 17 points in this round, followed by Sin, 11 points, and Gen X with 10 points. So that's going to be the double-digit club. But we also have a lot of amazing names up here on page number 1. But on page number 2, the 2 teams that did not score a single point this round is going to be KHI and Paradise. Unfortunately, 0 points for them.
You know what's really exciting? I think we talked about in the beginning of the show how we wanted to see drama and how close it is, right? I think that game was very, very close, given the fact that so many teams were able to score quite a large amount of points. Yeah, like 3-4 teams in the double digits earlier as well, which I think was super exciting. It wasn't like a big gap in terms of score from the first place to second place like we saw in that first match as well. So a lot of teams are starting to find their footing as well. And RNG, this is interesting because we're seeing a lot of teams right now that have 0 placement points, like RNG, NB. They have like 6 points, 5 points, and these are all just straight up from eliminations as well. We're seeing a lot of these 4v4 fights come through as well. We're seeing a lot of pickoff fights as well, and it's also really exciting to see that. Now, Burmese BG especially has really surprised me, given the fact that they lost 2 players very, very early, how aggressive they were as a 2, taking these long-range fights, stealing away kills, keeping an eye out for fights as well from long range and picking away, points, which is something that I would say is quite admirable because they've kept themselves very, very safe throughout the entirety of this map until they eventually fell.
Well, if Burma is going to surprise you, for PBMS, they surprised me. The fact that they only scored 1 point this round, because this is a lineup that is not only experienced, but they also have their own stature and their own achievements as well, especially Monboy, who has a medal at SEA Games, and also he has his own achievements as well in the local Filipino scene. But the fact that they only came up with 1 point this round, it's rather difficult. The last we saw them, it was Monboy getting knocked, and another player tried to save him, but both of them got eliminated together. So sometimes I guess it's a evaluation as well of like, you have to leave your teammate if it's unsalvageable, and maybe that's something to reflect on and consider in the following round.
Yeah, it felt like a very interesting situation. Your teammate's down, you're out there in the open. I was really questioning the decision to go for that pickup. I understand it's a very dire, desperate situation, but sometimes you really gotta make a choice, right? And on top of that as well, to add on to your point, I think we saw PBMS a lot in the kill feed in terms of knocks, I believe, but never really securing those elimination points, which I think is such a shame because you're getting so many of these knocks, but you're walking away with nothing, which is just a bit sad to see. Regardless, coming into that, these are our 2 overall rankings for the first 2 maps for today as well, with RNG still very much in the lead, but despite their lead, it's still only a 2-point deficit from Max as well, because Max has done a phenomenal job keeping their team relatively, I would say, active and healthy throughout the entirety of map 2, but still, the points are still being collected regardless. So that's what I always like to say. When you are playing this game, you want to make sure that you're not going bombastic one game and quiet for next 2 games here. Consistency is key, and RNG and Max are truly showing us that.
Well, Paradise needs to find a level of consistency because out of 2 matches, they're still at 0 points. Of course, we're going to see them more later on. So there's a lot more opportunity for them to be able to claw back those points. As for this round, our top 4 teams, of course, Team Max, who came out with the chicken dinner with 7 eliminations, 1,374 damage. So that's a lot of work done by them. Sin, we have Generation X, and also Pmcl goals. But based on the numbers, looks like for Sin, they still managed to score 5 eliminations despite them not able to deal as much damage. But the one that scored a balanced amount of eliminations as well as damage taken is X from Team Max.
Oh man, I mean, when you talk about X here, it's always very fun. I think Team Max, I hate saying this. I feel like I'm just saying this over and over, right? Just in terms of roles, how in terms of play, you're all just pulling your own weight. I think Max has just been doing really well in terms of positioning and playing off each other. You could really tell in terms of communication how seamless it is, how they're moving with each other as well. Going for a pickup and saying, hey, we only have 1 player left, and how immediately they reacted to that. So it's only very fun when you know that a team is just having some great communication going on. So it's something that I want to look out for more from Team Max as well, because there are some situations where you are in a situation where you have to make a decision, and you also want to be able to make a decision quick with your teammates, and they're just not on the same. It's just
Yep. But what we'll definitely be doing is that we'll take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll come back to you with our third match for today back in Irango. And we're coming back onto Erangel. So this Erangel, yes, it's going to be the same map, but it's going to be different groups. We're going to see Group E making the debut in this round. And who's in Group E? Okay.
Group E.
Yeah, Group E is going to make their debut. So we're going to see Young Gugat, we're going to see a good game, we're going to see AF, and we're going to see Goa here coming into PMCL.
Oh yeah, very exciting when you think about it. I mean, Yango Galacticos, I think that was your predictions for today as well, right, Cloud? About what you wanted to see for them coming into this map as well. So, super fun if you think about it coming into this one. Regardless, we're gonna go straight into Erangel one more time, this time with a different group.
Same map, new groups. Different challenge here, ladies and gentlemen, as we head on to Erangel. And looks like we're going to start the flight path here somewhere up north. I see Starbuck MSG. Okay, it's on the right side of Yasnaya, cutting across onto the left side of Quarry. So this is a pretty balanced flight path. All the teams should be able to get through their regular draw squad. But because there's a new group introduced, and within that group, there is the reigning champions, Yangon Galacticos. This round is going to be super interesting.
Oh yeah. Now, I think you and I are both very curious about what to expect for this team. Again, this is a very, very old team that has been playing in this scene for quite a long time. They had such an amazing run, a lot of achievements, just like the teams that you mentioned earlier, Sir Cloud. So for you personally, why do you think that Yangon Galacticos is the one, your pick for today?
Well, I mean, reigning champions, they have that on their resume. And then they have two players who previously, even before the last season, from Genesis Esports, multiple championship winning players. And they have even like players like Smile, who to me, up to now, is one of the players who comes up with the chicken dinner of, well, the season or maybe even the decade. I don't know, because it's just so amazing. So with that sort of resume, definitely Younger Galacticos is my pick for the day. So hopefully I'm not disappointed.
It's okay. My pick is not doing so great right now. So, maybe they're a slow cooker. Really hoping I'm not the jinx. Regardless, coming into this one, I think that, I look at RNG, I am super excited. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really seen a lot of them coming into my career, but they have been really surprising me today in terms of how they play, in terms of consistency, and it's their second Erangel, so they're definitely more acquainted with this map, that's for sure. Yeah, you have a little bit of a change there with the roster, but regardless, the rest of the teams are still very similar.
Yeah, so some similarity sometimes is needed, right? Like you got to keep some level of consistency by keeping the team together. Like if you overly change, sometimes it kind of affects the team. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to like remain the same roster as well. But that has to be, of course, translated. No matter what, has to be translated into the performance, into the game. And looking over at the overalls, so far for Rangers, since Harame Bros days, they have not changed their lineup. Or the last time we saw them with the Harame Bros branding, that is, they have not changed their lineup. They still retain the same lineup. And look what's happening to them. So far, they are still doing very well at number 1.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. I mean, again, it's not... Again, we wanted drama. We wanted to see close, close points. We're getting that. Only a 2-point deficit from these two teams. And again, Austria is a very interesting one to me. I feel like the last two maps, I wouldn't say they're the most aggressive, but they have protocols in terms of survivability, how they want to play. Granted, like, okay, we're stuck here, we're out here in the open. If we move, we die. What do we do? Let's just survive. And I think a lot of the points that Austria has been managing to collect has mostly been from having these many different playbook pages on how exactly they want to play their game in terms of side quests. How aggressive do you want to be? What's our position? How are we going to survive?
Yeah, and so far, Austria, they're doing okay, right? We haven't seen the most explosive performance by Austria, but I can totally understand as well, because this Austria lineup is it's almost a revamp from the last time we saw Austria in the PMCL. The last time we saw Austria in the PMCL, they had a player called Red Bull, And right now, he's obviously playing in the PMSL underneath a Thailand organization called Face Clan.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, everyone would probably know that. But yeah, without like a prominent player like Red Bull, who did very well for Austria. So this is a different feel of Austria this time for the PMCL. But are they doing okay? Well, I mean, with 16 points after 2 games, they're still not too bad. And at this stage, because we are still at the group stage, it's all about getting into the grand finals. And then that's where they need to bring out the best of themselves to chase for that number 1 spot and also the slot to the EWC, or also known as the PMWC. So whatever happens at this stage, as long as you're still in the top 16, you're still fine. But not like Austria is doing bad. They're still doing all right.
Yeah. I mean, Austria, I mean, if we look at track records with or without Red Bull, they're a little bit, I would say, a slow cooker team. They take them time to really figure things out. Sometimes it kind of like scares me a little bit on how long it takes for them to warm up. But once they do, they're definitely one of those teams that, if they're on point, they're super on point. They are explosive as heck. That's what makes watching them so fun. But at the same time, there's also that double-edged sword, because once they have lost the plot, that's where things go very, very wrong. But so far today, I've seen a little bit more balance from them instead of an all in and all out moment, at least for the last 2 maps. So at the very least, they're trying to find that balance, that chemistry, and filling in the big shoes left behind by Red Bull. I think that's super important as well. And it's always, very difficult for a team to really adjust when you have lost your best player, backpacking, carrying you around, and pulling you out of very nasty situations.
Apologies, had to clear my pipe. But for Red Bull, with the fact that he has been performing well in the PMCL with Austria, uh, honestly, with the kind of performance from an individual player, um, I wouldn't be surprised that if like a major organization like FaZe Clan eventually will pick him up. And
Yeah.
now that he is together with them, of course, they'll be starting their PMSL campaign in a couple more weeks. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if he's still able to put in a good performance. Of course, last season when he played with Austria, Thailand, that is, he was still able to put up a good show. So with FaZe Clan, I'm sure there will be a lot of fans all across hoping for him to be able to keep up to the pace, especially when you represent such a big name like FaZe Clan. But for this new Austria lineup, of course, there's still like experienced players within it. I mean, you still have like Renzer, you still have Nug X, you still have Top within it, you still have Fern X, who they have experience playing the PMCL. So it's not like a fresh, brand new lineup within Austria. With this balanced lineup, hopefully they'll be able to come up with something big. But for other teams here that we can see on screen, Nutty was a bit naughty there. But we have Rangers against Burmese Ghost.
Yeah, very aggressive right now, and Range to be punished for that aggression here. Burmese Wolves are very in their defensive situation, just kind of turtle shelling and just waiting for RNG to fall into their trap. It's like bugs just walking into their web, right? Spiders just completely devouring, and they were able to run away with 2 members from RNG, which is massive and should slow down RNG in terms of their lead. Regardless, when we look at the circle as a very northern side circle, a lot of teams are going to be fighting from the southern side, especially just now. We saw these fights coming in from Rozhok. They're trying to cross the bridge. They're trying to make sure they can go up to a Severny there. So that is where things are going to start to get haywire.
It's just too bad for Rangers, right? I guess they were doing his scouting work and they wanted to take that high ground where Burmese Ghost was last seen. And so happened, they sent 2 players, they kind of committed to it. They probably didn't have enough information and Burmese Ghost just took advantage of it. And 2 players down for Rangers. With 2 players, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to score big this round. And that puts them at risk of Team Max or even Burmese Ghost or even Austria or maybe even Sin to overtake them at that number 1 spot. But even if that happens, still, for the fans of Rangers, it's not the end of the world. We still have a lot more rounds to go, so that's fine. But now we're going to check out the circle, and it goes towards shooting a range, one of my favorite areas in the northern side.
Oh yeah. I think when we look at this one, I think, with the new another, group playing as well, right? I think it's just really slowed down the pace just a little bit because there is that uncertainty. You don't really want to go too aggressive, you don't want to overextend, but you also want to make sure that you're able to survive in the end, especially when you know teams like Yangon Galacticos who have quite an impressive track record, as you said just now, coming into this game. You want to make sure that you're able to survive as a team. Now, interesting enough, when you look at some of these teams as well, I look at AF coming in playing as well. They're coming in at 0 at GGG, at YG as well. Um, it's a fresh slate for you. You haven't played yet. It's a little bit more of I would say this is our time to really just get hot a little bit more, understand these teams. So for them, yeah, other teams are just surprised about them, but they also have no clue what to expect. Yeah, of course they'll be watching the game from earlier, but at the same time, you have no clue if your strats are going to be fitting into this game because you haven't played anything yet.
Well, at least the good news for them, starting off their campaign, is that they get to watch whatever happened earlier on, and now they can try to adapt to the situation. But speaking about adapting, looks like PG, one of the players not able to adapt. Lazy Boy will go out fast of Team Max. And let's not forget, PG, after 2 rounds, they have still yet to score a single point.
Oh, yeah.
In this round, they have to try to get it off the mark.
They really need to, and just now there was 2 rounds in a row dropping to RNG, and now they're dropping down to Max. They haven't been able to find that secret sauce to really figure out how exactly are they going to be surviving earlier into the game. I think for them, their survivability is maybe toward the mid side of the game. Is not enough to really give them those points if you're getting knocked out early without any elimination points. But the same thing could be said about about so many other teams as well. I think for AF, I think in terms of rotations right now, the circle, this is a very rough circle. It went all the way up north just now, and now it's ping-ponging all the way to the left side. So a lot of teams who are on the right side, they're gonna be in trouble. But thankfully enough, the only 2 teams outside is Goa as well as TTQ, and they're just slowly making their way into the circle from Hospital side. And Hospital side, that is a choke there, so I wouldn't be surprised if more fights are going to be happening from there because there is a team that just came down from Potato Hill.
Yeah, both teams clearly taking the time because they're still spending time in the blue. But at stage 2, that's still absolutely fine. You can still tank out the blue, and you would have decent amount of healing utilities. Bandages should be still enough, so I wouldn't be too worried about Type Quick Esports and also aggressive fights here so far. Of course, between these 2 teams, it is the first round for aggressive fights, so they're feeling the ground at the same time. But Pretzel from BBMS just got gunned down from afar. Any potential follow-up? Not yet. Perhaps everyone's just waiting for the circle to shift again. So we'll go up to the high grounds of shooting range. Looks like it's going to go towards the left side shooting range, which has a decent amount of high ground. 214 in one of the best areas possible in the circle.
I have to say, Yangon Galacticos and 214 dropped at the northern side here, and they are being severely rewarded for it here. They haven't had to move at all. Now coming in for Silent Gods, very aggressive team, but now they are the ones in trouble here. Yeah, they're the ones trying to gatekeep, but they're taking a lot of damage in that process as well. At the very least, for Pbm, they're able to knock down 1 player, trying to make sure that they're able to deny them that reset. And that's the most important thing to do. Perhaps be saying, okay, you're taking too long to reset, you're not biting onto the bait, so securing the point should be priority here, at least for Caps. So 1 point in the bag, and just the beginning of many more for SG, looking at their performance today.
Yeah, Silent Gods Esports. Definitely not silent there as they scored their first elimination point, so that's pretty nice. While retaining all 4 of their players, it was a long-range knock and also elimination. So that's okay for them. But for Osja, looks like it's only Top and Jane, the 2 players. But we're coming back onto Silent Gods Esports. Looks like Caps is now on the ground. PBMS right in front of them, and Raimon is trying to go in for a flank to try to sniff out the other members of Silent Gods Esports.
I don't think they're aware as well about his positioning here. He could be, coming in for the most insane flank in the world, might be able to run away with 2, but the same could be said about RNG. They had lost 2 players early, mid-rotation, gonna run into GG, and they have no clue what to expect from this team. This is a team that just came into this game. GG here, they did take some chip damage, but it's not enough to really say that they're in trouble at all, because a lot of teams, especially BG, they don't really want to take this fight early, at least not this early as well. They're just trying to hold on to their area for the time being here.
And speaking about GG, now we have them on screen, making their debut this round, playing by the edge of the circle. Looks like they're going to play it a little bit more safer, or maybe they have the idea of trying to block teams from coming in, and that's absolutely fine. It allows them the opportunity to farm eliminations if any team were to cross by. But we're back onto the area of shooting range. Here we have Silence God Esports. Right in front of them is going to be a member of Nexus Vanguards, also just across this hill. But they seem to have no idea that he's there.
Oh, he's gonna show his face, show his hand, but not gonna find dividends from that. So, like it or not, you're gonna have to move away and reposition here. You're all alone. You're so separated from your teammates as well. But the blue zone is rushing. You need to come through as well here. His teammate is gonna rush into his, I think, a safer car. You don't want to be on the buggy this very early as well. So they're gonna go a little bit more aggressive. Just rush through into that circle where I believe Silent Gods is around here. Could spell death for them. But the same could be said here. Sin toe to toe at 2 and 4.
Oh, send on 214. Here we go. And Rankit goes down. And it looks like Emas and Cool is on the other side, sharing the same building with 214. 214, they're trying to clear off Sin. And Worm takes a lot of damage from the back. He has to find an angle to save himself. And so far, it is 214 actually winning that fight nice and clean. All four of their players will be back up.
2 and 4 was very patient there, just focusing more on positioning and, just completely punishing the team for just going a little bit more aggressive and trying to take away that compound. And that is how you hold. But the same could be said about PG this time around. It's just so unfortunate for these, Paradise Esports. They haven't been able to find dividends. They're just getting picked off one by one here. No eliminations as well, which means that they're not going to be moving at all from the bottom side, despite the fact that we have a whole new, group just joining into the fray here as well. So nothing for them at the same time. But OF here, this is massive. Because TTQ was the team that was in trouble. And we talked about a little bit about TTQ's rotation, and they were just holding.
Oh, MM with a beautiful nade onto Peter, not Parker. On the other side, knocking him down, and surely he will claim this point for himself. Going in just to make sure. But MM being shot at from the other side, gotta be extra careful. Lucky enough for him, the smoke is still active. But nevertheless, the point will still go to... Oh, wait a second. It's Team Max actually stealing that point away.
It's just been so, I would say, surgical from Team Max, right? It's just been them being opportunistic, waiting for the right time between these two fights as well, stealing away kills. And that's just been their style for the last two maps here. AFF, this is their debut game into here, but now they're in trouble. Silent Gods has been phenomenal when it comes to how they play. It's very patient, it's very gatekeepy, but aggression still very much there. But like it or not, Max has been phenomenal in stealing kills. They've got another pick-off in their bag, stealing another one away from Silent Gods, and there's nothing they can do about it. And it must be so frustrating because right now you're out here in the open, people are shooting toward you, and Max has a lot of advantage in terms of space, in terms of high ground, in terms of cover as well.
It's just so annoying for all these teams on the lower ground because Team Max, they have this high ground overlooking all of them. Putting pressure onto every team, trying to steal away elimination points at the same time. And so far, Team Max managed to score 6 elimination points, looking for more. Now, some of these teams just by the edge of the circle, but very likely when we hit stage number 5, they will not be in the circle no more.
No. By Silent Gods, they have another plan in mind here. Just stay quiet, scope in, make sure to mark our enemies and try to steal away some kills. And that's important, I feel, because then you're trying to make sure that you have an objective how to play. But I think for Max, they have a different idea. They know that Silent Gods were close here. It's all about trying to scout them out and being able to pick them off. Not too sure. I'm pretty sure that Trezzy has actually managed to spot out the member of SG just now. And as soon as another team just pops their head, at least his teammate is able to just scout around in safety because you have you providing that cover fire.
Oh, and within the circle, look at the amount of teams now playing by the edge of it. Everyone's trying to cancel each other from coming in. While AF, they're finding it really difficult to move forward. But 15 more seconds before we see the zone will close, and that will be the biggest challenge for them in this round so far. 10 more seconds to go. Everyone's just praying that the circle somehow miraculously pulls towards the right side where all these teams are at. Every team pretty much has their own side. And yes, wow! Priya's answer circle actually hardships towards the right.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned just now because if they did move toward the central side or even the left side, all the players are going to be corralled straight into the guns of Max. But the rest of the teams here are going to have to rotate. Another team that's still outside the circle is Goa. But Goa, I think for them, they have a nice terrain to work with as well. They do have to worry about incoming teams inside of the area. But it's not that they're in a disadvantage. They can still fight their way into the circle. It's still very much winnable for them.
And here comes Goa. They want to clear off their sides before going into the circle. So many teams here that we can see on the left side. On the other side of the circle, we have Goa now. Looking down at 214. And they will get green in the process. Trying to secure the elimination point. Now we have Goa coming in. We see one. He's way down. On the 214, putting pressure onto them. 214. Now they know that on top of this hill, there's Goa waiting. Super duper difficult for 214 to get out of this sticky situation.
214 just now were the team that was inside of the circle. They had a lot of positioning, but unfortunately for them, because of their late rotations, they're going to be severely punished here. PBMS will be able to get a point for themselves at the very least here, so that's also something very exciting. Now, Austria, this is a very quiet start for them, a little bit more different, but now they're in trouble in the midst of rotations. A lot of pressure coming toward them, but it doesn't seem that they want to even, fight back. They're just trying to make sure they can get the space that they want to get.
And here comes the spray from the lower ground. And looks like Nexus Vanguard, they're looking for elimination points for themselves. So far, they managed to get one, but beautiful spray here by Super Loki and his teammate. They almost got an opponent down from 214. That was a really, really close one. They're playing the gatekeeping role right now. Just look at their position within the northern side of the circle. They can still block another team from coming in.
Exciting stuff here, Burmese goals. Very aggressive as well, very patient. Still the same strat played and is still paying dividends. 214 at the very least. Lion able to get into the circle for the time being. At the very least, manage to slip away from Burmese goals. Now, Goa find themselves toe-to-toe with BG. Now, this is a super interesting one because as soon as BG come into the circle, Burmese goals pop their heads, and suddenly you can see the rest of Goa immediately pushed back out of that circle.
Here comes Team Max as you shows up, getting a knockdown to Marnat from Yangon Radicals, looking for the other members of Yangon Radicals. And here's the nade set across on Seikla. Seikla takes a bit of damage as you is still putting pressure on them, but you being shot at from afar. Now Team Max, they have to manage other teams as well at the same time, and you will need to recover himself. Marnat will need Seikla to pick him up.
In trouble right now. Trezzy stolen away from a member of SG as well. So SG, despite having a player disadvantage, still waiting for the right possible time to steal away points here. What Max has done to them, they do back as well. As Romeo rendered very low, surviving by the skin of his teeth. His teammates dwindle down in numbers one by one here, as well as Max. They're gonna have to move all the way back here. They still have 3-on-3 regardless. Yangon Galacticos has to go for that reset. They do. So moving back here, hiding behind a tree at the very least. The fight's not over. They decide to chase, but Max decides to say, let's just retreat for now.
Wow, and Yangon Radicals, they managed to recover as a 4, but they're not out of it yet. That T-Max is there. Choronai knocked down by Seikla. That could be their opening to go in, as you will be taken out as well. This is the former Yangon Radicals, ladies and gentlemen, showing their stuff against T-Max, as T-Max gets eliminated at number 10 with 8 elimination points.
It's actually insane when you think about it, because Max had a lot of advantage compared to Yangon Galacticos, the high ground as well. But for Yangon Galacticos, despite, Marnat being knocked down already, they have an idea on how to navigate the terrain, keeping Marnat alive, going a bit more aggressive, but still keeping that space away. And like it or not, Silent Gods has really helped them in terms of their positioning, stealing away that point away from them as well. Really gave them an edge over the other team. So that's massive. It's huge for them as well. Yangon Galacticos, this is a great statement opening fight for them as well.
It's their first game, and they already scored like 5 eliminations so far with 3 players still intact. So we can expect more from Yangon Radicals. We're going to shift our attention now onto the left side where Goa is now going in. Burmese goes to try to stop them. Straight down by Burmese goes. It's going to be Oscar top. You get Clay Jr. and he will be down on the ground right now, eliminated by top. At the same time, Yangon Radicals forcing their way into the middle of the circle. Goa managed to make their way through. But as Yangon Radicals wanted to go up to the high ground, Romeo gets knocked out by Osao.
Gotta give it to them as well. Yangon Galacticos, they just taking too long to reset, taking too long to reconvene, and other teams just quickly filling up the space that's left behind from Max as well. But Goa's not done. Goa's still holding on to that area as well. Marnat, gotta say, he's very sharp, very perceptive. Knows exactly where NX is gonna be. Decides to matters in his own hands here. 1v2, but he's not scared at all. He's not gonna deal with this flying crazy into those smokes. He's not done. He puts a lot of damage into the teams and players, eats a lot of damage in exchange as well. Now, because he's so low, forced to move back, take his time. Yangon Galacticos still very much alive, still very much healthy, but it's a tag team here as well. As PBMS decide to join in the fight as well on the other end.
Oh, a lot of teams clumped up here on the left side. And also goes down. He does have his teammate together with him though. Is Joji going to go for it? Osal is crawling towards Joji. He pops up that smoke. He should be able to save his teammate, but can't say the same for Super Loki, as Super Loki just got naded down. Almost eliminated. He's still alive though. He can still be picked up.
Romeo is back in the game as well. In terms of firepower, YG looks terrifying right now despite only playing as a 3 here. Gotta give it to them because individual brilliance is what Yango Galacticos has as well. You have Marnet just going aggressive on one end, the rest of the teammates playing together as well as a tag team here. And Annex, look at the amount of space they have. Basically zero. The only cover they have is that car. The rest, a low ground to play with. PBMS decides to take up space as well on the other end. Yango Galacticos as well as Goa close high. I don't know how they're going to be getting out of this alive here.
And for PBMS, 2 players left. But look at Raimon. He's already at 6 eliminated points by himself. That's so far the highest number for a single individual player in the PMSL, or the PMCL that is. And now long range spray by Scotty. He's looking for more eliminations for his team. 9 eliminations now for PBMS, and Scotty will spray them down, eliminating Nexus Vanguard.
Nexus, it's a very dire situation for them. They didn't have space to work with as well, so this outcome is to be expected here. Yango Galacticos has a high ground to play with, but not the circle. Still has to worry about trying to go through here because Goa, I have to say, their aggressive style play, aggressively just kind of brute forcing their way into the circle is paying dividends. They have a nice area to play with on the high ground as well. So if any team tries to crunch it, they have an idea where they want to push as well.
And here is the circle again. Shifted. Only 5 teams left in this circle. We got Burmese Ghost, PBMS, Goa, Yango Galacticos, and GG within the circle. It's going to be anyone's game right now to score the chicken dinner. Pretty much everyone has their own corner, but Goa, interestingly, in the middle. They're very close with the members of Yango Galacticos, but because they have a little bit of elevation together with the Shack, so they don't have a good clear shot onto Goa just yet. But the 2 teams at the northern side will be fighting with each other. We have PBMS and Yango Galacticos.
PBMS and Yango Galacticos need to fight themselves to be able to even get into the circle. This is a very long, drawn-out fight here. PBMS being so great at being alive right now, and Raimon, he has 8 eliminations just to his name all alone here. We talked about how rough it is for them to lose 2 members very early. It doesn't look very good, but they are surprisingly doing a great job at surviving as a duo, keeping themselves quite safe, keeping themselves fairly hidden, and hoping to be able to isolate some fights, steal away kills, cripple down the numbers of Yango Galacticos, and completely overwhelm in the end.
And here comes Yango Galacticos into the circle. And Raimon is at the flanking position to potentially surprise Yango Galacticos, but he don't have a good clear shot. Anyway, Yango Galacticos, they're going to put focus on the shack where Goa is at. Sends a nade across, not able to clip them down yet. Yango Galacticos timing their run. Another nade onto Goa, but a little bit too short, and that's a stun grenade. So that won't stun Goa for now, but this nade could land on the inside. Very close.
Very close, but Manat Boy gonna take advantage of the cacophony of that noise as well, take a little bit more space, get a little bit more close. Some pre-fires to come around, but the thing about Goa is that they have no clue where exactly Mernat Boy is, so they have to wait here for the time being. Vehicle come close as well to give a bit of cover as well. They could completely overwhelm. They want to! Oh, that is the most perfect nade I've seen today! We'll eliminate 1 team there, so Yango Galacticos all the way up here in top 4 in their debut game.
And guess who it came from? It came from Smile! My personal Mr. MVP, putting up a good nade there to open up his account as well. And now, the fight will continue on as the circle shifted. You can see the teams getting close by each other as Raimon gets a run over by Master Smile himself.
Yango Galacticos are just playing this so patiently. They have an idea on who exactly to hit first, and they are playing this, knocking on doors like the Grim Reaper 1 by 1. But don't count out the other teams yet, because the Gulzil Yatka, great opening onto a member of Yango Galacticos, potentially just crippling them in terms of numbers right now, leaving them to only 1 player left alive. Eventually it will fall down. Manat Boy alone, dangerous predicament to be in. The nade will eventually just go past him in the end, keeping very quiet, but he's not going to be surviving for a lot longer here. His heart possibly beating loudly in his chest.
And 1 more nade, but looks like it was sent a little bit too far there. Definitely will not connect on the Manat Boy at all, but Yakai is prepared with his own nade. This nade could land, but still a nowhere shot. Oh man, Manat It feels like he has to force the
No
him, and
way.
Murder will fire back to Yaka. Oh man, Yaka, not able to land those things. Now Murder will take him down.
God.
Murder finally goes down to the hands of Gosby, but still able to secure that one elimination point before he went down, and that's going to be Gosby against the world, and the world is going to be good game. JJ with the chicken dinner on their debut match.
Chicken Dinner on their debut match, very, very silent as well. Held down the southern side of the circle for quite a long time. Did not want to take fights, did not want to fight, did not want to, start anything. Didn't even try and steal away kills and points. It's all about survivability. It's all about staying up as a 4 and just focusing on that last fight that when it mattered the most. So GG is to you. Great opening match for them in their debut as well. But Yangon Galacticos, you gotta, give them props because they were aggressive the entire game. 10 eliminations before going down eventually. That is a terrifying thing to see.
Well, absolutely right. I mean, coming in from the reigning champions of the PMCL, I'm sure the fans would expect them to put on that kind of performance. But it is not about how you start. It is about how you end. But we're not going to take away the spotlight from GG as well, ladies and gentlemen, with a great performance shown by them. They scored 4 eliminations in total this round, 3 for Shout, 1 for Boy Sean, and the rest of them played a significant role, especially Luki, putting up 800 plus stats. No eliminations, but that's fine. He did a lot of work for the team for them to score these 4 eliminations.
It's really important as well to know, when you put in that damage but not eliminations, it's also really important to know that these type of, I would say, style plays just cripple other teams, gives your teammates a chance to go and just clean up house. And I think if I remember correctly, looking at Shroud here, who wanted to be the Shroud of Southeast Asia, he's always been that one player that's just been great at cleaning up houses. Possibly how he's managed to get those knockdowns as well as eliminations as well, with the support coming in from players like Luki. At the same time, for players like GG right now, again, we talked about how they didn't really want to go all into these fights. I wouldn't be surprised if all this damage coming from Luki was just him, crippling down players, but not fully wanting to commit to these fights, which kind of resulted in this style of play and stats as well.
Yeah, so this is just their opening game. Expect more from GG, as these players, they are very, very experienced. They have represented their country as well at international stages, at SEA Games, so they definitely know what they're doing. Might not be the most sexiest of eliminations, but again, it's not about how you start, it's about how you end. And scoring a chicken dinner, definitely can't complain about that. So it's nice to see these players still having the strats, still having the prowess to score this chicken dinner, and they have a new inclusion of Luki in the lineup, so it's great to see them be able to live up to expectations. Let's check out some of the best moments here from this highlight.
Here we are looking at the match rankings right now. At that particular game, it was a very, very close one. Yangon Galacticos managing to steal away that top spot from GG just by being able to run away with 10 eliminations. 5 placement points, no problem, because for them, their main quest has always been about the elimination points.
Well, who needs chicken dinners if you're able to score the most points in the round, right? So Yangon Galacticos still showing, hey, we can still do it. Don't forget about us. But of course, credit given to GG. They're still able to score the chicken dinner, so that's 14 points for them. Burmese goals still doing pretty nice, 14 points as well. And PBMS, this is a rise for them. 9 eliminations collected, 13 points in total. With so many double digits up here at top 1, 2, 3, 4, expect that on page number 2, when we flip over, there will be a good amount of teams that maybe did not get away with this round with that maybe not able to score any points in this round. Yeah, so we have 3 teams to be exact.
Quite surprised at the outcome. PG, Sin, and RNG. Sin and RNG in particular, I'm quite surprised at the outcome as well, because Sin and RNG has always been a little bit more aggressive. It's all about those fights, but I guess in this situation, they weren't able to secure those kills. RNG especially were caught in the mid of the rotation. They weren't able to stay as a team as a 4, and I think for them, staying as a 4 is their strength. But right now, Sin as well could be set off the same as they were kind of breached a little bit early toward the game as well. Now, interesting enough, when you look at, the amount of teams at the top side there in terms of scoring and points, not only is it very, very close, but I have to say it was very, very competitive in terms of how each team tried to survive and play off that area. I have to say it is a very hard circle, with the aggressive northern side circle and ping pong toward the left side is not the easiest circle to navigate into. So it's kind of like forced a lot of teams to take these fights, but at the same time, teams that are already there in the circle, in the prime location, and great at holding down the line where they are the teams that are able to come up on top. So teams like 2 and 4, yeah, early on in the game, they were able to get prime location, but the late rotations are heavily punished by those that are gatekeeping.
Yeah, but those were the teams on top. But unfortunately for PG, they're still not able to score a single point after 3 rounds. They definitely need to go back to the drawing board here. And these teams, well, they've drawn very well in this round. Top 4 teams. Yango Guide goes with 10 eliminations. GG with the chicken dinner, 4 eliminations. And we got Burmese goes with 8. PBMS with 9 eliminations. And if we were to look at the numbers here, well, all of them were very active with their utilities. And our MVP for this round is going to be Shroud from GG.
Again, we talked about how Shroud plays and how much support he gives to his team as well. 3 elims, but the amount of team contribution and survivability time really kind of skewed in his situation. Being able to be there for his team, playing as a 4 is, I think, most important for this team as well, which just lands him that MVP role. Yes, his teammate put in a lot more damage, but for him, it's all about being able to clean up house, and that's exactly how he was able to rush up on top here. But I also really want to talk about how Yango Galacticos played as well just now. Yeah, high elimination points coming from them as well. But it felt like they were the final boss on how exactly they played. There were a lot of situations which just seemed unwinnable for them. But you have these stellar plays coming in from players like Marnet Boy or even Smile that really just catches you off guard. You're just like, what the heck happened there? They were supposed to lose, but you have this one guy just being able to just come up in the back with a backstab or an impressive spray, and just everything skewed in their favor. So this is not only a statement game, but also an idea of like what to expect for a lot of teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna have, like I would say, a target on their head as we go throughout the entirety of today.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about being the top team, right? If you're up there, you're performing, everyone will be like, how does he do that? Maybe we can try to cut them off somewhere, right? So I expect them to be coming soon. But you know what is going to be a challenge for you all? Is to try out this phone. Thank you so much to Techno for being our official sponsor for this season's of PMCL. Techno is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 8350. The Camel 40 Premier 5G delivers seamless and efficient performance for both everyday tasks and demanding gaming sessions. Plus, with one-tap AI flash snap, you can easily capture sharp and flawless photos with just one tap. So try that one out right now. One tap, perfect snap.
Yeah, it's also so important when you have it depends on your lifestyle, right? You want to be able to have a phone that can, function for your games as well as real life. This is why this phone is really important. This has a nice balance as well for you guys who prioritize playing games like PUBG Mobile, but you still want to be able to snap nice photos, send text, do your daily things. This is something that you want to be able to invest in. Now, coming into the next one, I think we've done one Sanhok, 2 air angles, which means we have 1 more air angle to go after this as well. So it might be something that you guys want to look out for because it's going to be the last one of the day. Regardless, before we go into that one, we have a PUBG Mobile X Shelby collaboration happening right now, where we have the unrivaled power with PUBG Mobile X Shelby. And if you guys want to check it out, you can check it out right now in the game alongside the PUBG Mobile X Attack on Titan collab happening. Because for me personally, again, I love AOT. The anime ended a while back, but seeing this graphic gives me a throwback to the beginning of the season, and it's looking at some of the excuse me cast that's no longer there, making me sad. So it's a great way to relive those moments.
I like how the PUBG man is also animated. But you know what? Before we head on to our second half, we're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. So do not go anywhere because you don't want to miss out on the second half for today in the PMCL.
Shelby as a lone companion. It would never betray, never turn back. It is unlike anything else in this world. Some people rely on their brothers, some rely on their luck, but relentless few only believe in the steel beast.